These 800-million-year-old sponge-like fossils could be the oldest animal fossils ever discovered. Though the fossils suggest that animal life started 300 million years earlier than previously thought, not everyone is convinced. In the 1990s, geologist Elizabeth Turner flew to Canada's isolated Mackenzie Mountains to take samples for her PhD. One of the samples struck her as odd, but she put it aside for later. Now, Turner believes that the sample might be evidence that animal life began hundreds of millions of years earlier than previously thought. Just a handful of samples, literally a handful, had this unexpectedly weird, complicated thing in it that said, "I really don't belong here," Turner recalled. That sample, an ultra-thin slice that once belonged to a prehistoric reef, struck Turner as too complicated to be microbial structures. Today, she believes that they're actually fossils of sponges. And if they are sponges, then Turner's fossils suggest that animal life began 890 million years ago. That's huge. In the long and enduring quest to understand the birth of animal life on Earth, scientists have previously guessed that it began some 500 million years ago. Initially, when you look at these features, they look like a bunch of wiggles, but when you try to follow each of the strands, you realize that even in thin sections, they form complicated 3D meshwork, Turner explained. Those meshworks bear a strong resemblance to sponge fossils. Turner believes that her sample looks identical to evidence presented in a recent study which sought to explain how fossils formed from horny sponges. "They are truly identical to the ones that I had in much older rocks," Turner said of that study. "There weren't any other truly viable interpretations of the material." However, not everyone is convinced that Turner is correct about what she found, and even Turner admits it's hard to be certain. "Maybe there's some other explanation. My interpretation is not the final word," Turner acknowledged. "It's possible that I'm wrong." Indeed, multiple scientists met Turner's claim with skepticism. First of all, Earth's oxygen levels may not have been ample enough to support life 890 million years ago, though sponges may have survived by living in reefs. And second of all, her discovery, if accurate, would completely rewrite what scientists understand about the arc of Earth's history. "We're talking about inserting hundreds of millions of years without a trace of fossils," noted Graham Budd, a paleobiologist at Uppsala University in Sweden. "It would be sensational. It would be like finding a computer chip in a 14th century monastery." Turner pushed back on skepticism like Budd's, arguing that scientists simply don't know yet what went on millions of years ago. "We know there have been a time, an episode, or an interval of hidden evolution in animals prior to 540 million years ago," Turner said. "The question is, how far back did it go, and what was it like? That's the big hole." But Jonathan Antcliffe, a paleontologist at the University of Lausanne in Switzerland, also has his doubts, calling Turner's evidence very, very thin. "These things could be absolutely anything," Antcliffe said. "There's just nothing distinctive here at all." He went on to say that Turner had found some wiggles in a rock, performed a Rorschach inkblot test on them, and said, "They sort of vaguely remind me of a sponge." However, other scientists believe that Turner's discovery holds water. "The orderliness and neatness of this pattern, I think, is very distinctive," said Joachim Reitner, a German paleontologist who co-wrote the study cited by Turner on horny sponges. "If I found that pattern in younger rocks, I would say for sure that it's a sponge." For now, scientists have plenty more work to do to understand the early days of planet Earth. "This is not the Holy Grail," Turner said of her discovery. "It's just a step toward a better view on animal evolution." And moving forward, she believes that scientists just need to keep asking questions. "We're capable of wondering about stuff, and we wonder how we came to be," Turner said. "What happened before, and what was it like? How did it begin?" This is really digging into that. I'm shaking up the apple cart. The world is filled with stories going viral every single day. But how many of these sites can you actually follow? We understand that your day should start with positive stories, stories that resonate with you. And so we started Jojo Stories. Our mission is to create meaningful stories that cover everything from animals to anthropology, history to environment and lifestyle. The kind of content you read on our site will be one you'll want to share with your family and friends. We hope you'll join our growing family and be part of our community. Welcome to Jojo Stories, jojostories.com.